Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful end to the week. It's Friday. Good morning. You know, this is going to be one of those topics that I am probably going to regret talking about. Probably, I'm certain. All right. So real quick, this is another one of those kind of long questions the person sent in, female. So I'm gonna try to cut through it and get to the chase. As we all know, I'm sure women all around the world in their friendship circles and pairs discuss men. It just depends. Some women exercise more discretion than others because, there's always that I'm not going to tell nobody about my person because you ain't going to be coming to take him, whatever. So women will discuss with one another the size of a man's penis, or men, whatever. They have their little joke discussions and they laugh about this, that, and the other. And so this particular person was saying her, and I'll tell you what, okay, let me read a little bit of it. I'll get a little bit of it. Okay, here's the question. I was recently in a conversation with one of my besties about relationships, intimacy, and sexual satisfaction. In the conversation, she expressed that her sexual preference is for a man who is well endowed. She said that's something that's really important to her. I then turned and asked her, what if he wasn't? Would that be a deal breaker for her? And she said it could be. She said, so this topic has been around for ages with women pontificating endlessly about the array of sizes out there and how it's not about the size of the ship, but about the motion in the oceans, etc., etc. I get it. Basically, some women are willing to work with whatever tools they have, especially if they love them. This discussion, however, got me to thinking about the converse of the issue. Do men ever think about her size? Not her waistline, not her bra size, not her booty size, but rather the size of her ocean. She says, so my question to you, sir, is does size matter to men? If her vagina is ample, meaning in other words spacious, spacious, wait a minute, did she put that on there? Spacious, is that a deal breaker for him? Can he tell the difference? Further, if a man has already fallen for the woman and he later discovers that there's not a lot or enough friction down there, how is the man supposed to handle that situation? So what we are in turn saying is, how women, just as women can talk about whether a man is adequate, too big or too small, not enough, she's saying when it comes to the vagina situation for men, how do we see it? Well, look, I see Mr. Lee on here, Mr. Robert Lee. You gotta do you or Bruce, y'all help me out in the comments if you will, y'all gotta back me up on this. But here's the thing. Let's just say, and I'll put it back on the woman. Women love shoes. Women love shoes. So let's just say a woman wears a 9, but she finds herself sometimes coming up on these great shoes that she loves, but they're 7.5, maybe an 8. Not that far off, but it's enough to make you experience either discomfort, or if you go above, if you're in size 9 and you're looking at a 10.5, again, not that much when you think about it, when you hear it, but it makes a difference. So one size and a half or so down causes a lot of discomfort. A size and a half or so up causes, it's just not a good fit. It's just like somebody wearing some tennis shoes trying to jog. Your shoes gonna be flipping, flopping off, coming out, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, if you are into making the purpose of the act do what it do and enjoy it, absolutely a fit matters to a man, because the friction of it, the friction of the situation, along with the woman's level of moisture, because not all women's level of moisture are the same. The friction level and the level of moisture matters, because that's the man's beacon as to the levels he's reaching. So if he's with the woman and you don't feel no friction, aka no walls at all, you are like, what is going on here? I thought they closed the bay hours ago. But anyway, nonetheless, this is something that people get, you know, it don't jive well. Like just think about it. This culture in general is coming. Sorry, y'all. That's it. No more stay. I'm going to the store today. Sorry about that. All right. Here's the thing. Men in general will, the culture today of the fit is everybody wants something that's comfortable for them, that works. So sexually, it's no different. Sexually, you want to know that it works. It feels right. It's comfortable. It's not, it's within your wheelhouse. Come on, women. I know. Now, I will say this. Y'all are a lot more patient and understanding, and you apply love to us, meaning us men, if we fall short in the size category. But I have heard some of y'all become brutal and talk about the man and what he don't have and this, that, and that. And just imagine, that's a horrible realization for someone. So it's no different than a woman. So to a woman, the size absolutely matters. It really does. I mean, I'm sure men probably won't tell you. He probably won't tell you, but it matters because to his performance, let's just say, look, even if a guy is a decent size dude, in terms of his members, he's a decent sized dude, but if you are just too big, it's still something's not going to be right. So the point is, you got to, it's about the fit, and people need to think about that. Like when we always worried about dating and what kind of stats you got and what kind of job and all these different things, something that we overlook all the time and we don't discuss up front, because people nowadays, they jump in it, they jump at it, and it happens, and it's just off to the races of the relationship or the situationship, dealing, whatever you call it, and it's off to the races. But we don't stop and say, listen, let's discuss, what are your thoughts around this? Especially, now you may not want to be premature, and not everybody has the palate to be premature enough to talk about it up front before you have sex. But if you have sex, at that moment, both parties know what it is. She knows whether or not something it ain't fitting right or it's not feeling normal, and he knows. Let me give a woman an example how y'all know. Women can be prepared, and she'll be like, okay, come on, blah, blah, blah. She has spread for him. Let me be less graphic. She's opened up for him. Okay, he's moving around, and women sometimes y'all just want to just start doing your little things that you feel work for you, and your movements and your positions and things like that. But if the guy keeps on coming out, he's not adequate for you. If the guy keeps sliding out, he ain't adequate for you. Or if you just doing all kinds of movements, and the guy, he's sitting there and he's looking for the friction. Cause let's take this old school. Back in the day when dudes was, we was young, and you know, if somebody just starting to have sex, you know, we in high school or junior high, whatever it was, you started, and you with your boy's house back in the day when the girl played hooky from school, whatever, and the boys may be in the front room doing something, playing a game or whatever, and the guy is always that guy that got the girlfriend that's gonna be like, we be back here in the back for a minute, I'll be back out in a little bit. Well, guess what? Back in them days, we were listening for the friction sound, and that friction sound to us was the moaning and the groaning, the noise, the grunts, the groans. Those to us were interpreted as, oh, I'm in the building, whatever you call it, okay. So we thinking all these things like we hitting the right spaces, and it's fitting right because she's obviously feeling it from the pain aspect, or she's feeling it from the pleasure aspect, but she is feeling it. So that's the point. She is feeling it. You don't want the woman to just not feel it, because then now she's faking. She playing with you at this point. If she's acting like she's feeling it and she's not, and women, you guys know you do this sometimes. But if she's doing this and she's not feeling it, it is what it is. So I would say this. Have that conversation. The minute and let me put my disclaimer. I am not advocating people to have sex. I see Dr. Shrill on here, don't tell. But I'm not advocating people to have sex and do all these things if that's not what you subscribe to, especially if you are under the religious banners of life. I get it. However, but in the realistic world, people are having sex. And so what I'm saying to you is, if you are going to have sex, and the minute you do, or even if you already are having sex, heck, you could have been 2 years in, 3 years in, 10 married. Ask your person about your fit and tell them to be completely honest with you. Because I know women already, because women, y'all kind of mark it off as, it's good, girl. It was this, that, and the other, or he's terrible. Either he did this and beat it up, or whatever you call it, or he's terrible, or whatever, all these names. Nonetheless, the fit part of the conversation should come in, because it matters. Because you may be with a guy that you think he just may know how to improvise. If he's an experienced sexually guy, and maybe he's a good size, but maybe you too big. He's a smart guy. He knows how to work with what he got to make it, to improvise you. But it doesn't mean he prefers your fit. Believe that. Doesn't mean that he prefers how you feel. He just going along to get along. But the fit is important. You should always ask your person, how do we fit? How do I fit with you? Whatever. Because again, it's about the friction. The friction of it is what brings about change, as we call it, as we step into the ecstasy of orgasm. The friction is what gets you there, whether it be internally or on that little external member of the woman, I won't say. But nonetheless, all those things is what does it. So if this thing ain't fitting right, and he's slipping, slopping, and running around, and it ain't right, and all this, and then let's go to the extreme side. Okay, there has been women, I don't want to go into life history, but anyway, I'll just throw something to the left side of my brain out there. You see somebody, and the woman may be brick Coca-Cola bottle all the way down, shaped like all of this, and you like, okay, this person. Because sometimes men can look at somebody and you think that they have prowess and they may be this and that, they can do this, that, and whatever. And then you turn around and you're looking at a woman's build can be deceiving. You can look at her and be like, oh, she basically, in short, she look like she can take it. Basically, as graphically I can put it. But then here comes the woman, and she's extremely small. And then now everything is stop. Wait, that's not a good fit. Man, if the guy got patience enough to sit there and go through this training week after week and day after day to hopefully adjust and break in or whatever you call it, fine. But other than that, it's not a good fit. You need the guy that the girls talk about is too small. Then those two will go together well. But other than that, you got to match up. We leave that part of the equally yoked part. That yoke thing goes all the way around. Find that part of the yoke. In that person, you got to say, do we fit? Because just because you meet somebody and like somebody and all this, that, and other, don't mean that you fit well. And just as well as that person's jobs and morals and looks and all that stuff is important, so is the fit, because the fit is the catalyst of the sexual experience. The fit ain't right, the experience won't be right. I'm trying to tell you. Another thing, really quickly, forget about the fit. What about the ugly looks of him? But anyway, you got some that's just like Vogue. Hey, all kinds of crazy looks. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But another thing is this. What about this? I believe I'm going to drop these quick things on the ladies to try to attempt to help. Okay, I'm going to throw a bone at you. I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second. I am parking. 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. See how we men know how to parallel park pretty easy. But anyway, all right. This is the thing, and this is for free. All right. When it comes, since we on this subject, I'll just throw this out here. The fit is important, okay? The fit is important, and it does matter, and I stand on that. That's the truth. But since we're already in the seat talking about the experience of it all, since we're already there and we're talking about the experience, this is the thing. You got to know what your person likes, and you got to concentrate right there. I have heard people say, he ain't lacking nothing because I do everything. I hang from the chandeliers. I do all this. And let me tell you something. He's not lacking nothing. But the funny thing is, it's the woman saying this. It's not the man. It's the woman saying this. So if the man is not singing your praises, don't assume. Because I said this to one person before on the show I had, on a radio show sometime last year, because this lady kept talking about her prowess. And I said, listen, what if your everything didn't mean anything to him? Because sexual experience is relative to that man's or woman's level of exposure. If that man has been exposed at the pro level sexually, and then you come telling him, I did everything. I sure did. I tied up this in my hand. And him, he's just like, yeah. Some men will oblige you. They will oblige you, but they won't necessarily be honest and tell you that you're not at the level that you think that you are. That's just real talk. And so I made an analogy one time. I talked about this. I said, what do you think would happen if you was up in New York and they were at, I don't know if to you all, to basketball fans in New York and Brooklyn, they have this park called Rutgers Park. Rutgers Park is a famous street ball basketball court where a lot of different dudes, they got discovered there. They, even a lot of pro players go back there just to play or watch different people just to enjoy it. Nonetheless, I said, what if LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant were riding down the street and they said, hey, they go Rutgers Park. Let's go over there and play with these guys, a little pickup game. And I asked the people that I asked this question to, I said, what type of game do you think they're going to bring out there? I said, do you think they just going to get out there and you're going to see them in championship form as you see on TV? Or do you think they're going to perform according to the average opponents they see out there on the court? And my answer to them was, they have the ability to exceed and excel beyond that person. I mean, beyond those guys all day long. But because they are who they are, and because they know that person that they're playing against is nowhere near their skill level, they're going to dummy down and accommodate the game just to get through the game. They may do a trick or two to show off and let you know I'm Jordan, but they're not going to give you the high level game because you're not on their level. So this is why I say, that. But another thing is this. I think all women, this is my last thing I want to say. I think all women should, what did I write? Okay, all women should master something in the eyes of her man sexually. Always leave something I mean, let your experience with your guy, I'm not talking about for one day at a time, but if you're in a relationship and if you married to a guy, you should have your imprint in his brain as it pertains to sex. Something about you should master. I don't care what it is. It may be visual. It may not be all physical, but something, it may, if it's on, when I say visual, it may have to do with the presentation piece. And I'll say that for another show. That's a whole nother thing. The presentation piece. And on the other side, and if it's physical, and if it's physical, then something about that game in that room, one way or another, needs to be very memorable to that guy. He needs to be able to be like, I want to go home because of this. Yeah, he knows the whole act exists and he's going to jump in and do what he got to do. But there got to be something about you that he says, this person is this. Because guess what, women? I know you're going to say it don't matter because y'all going to go out there in the street and cheat anyway and do this, that, and the other. And guess what? You are potentially right. You know, it is by default sometimes the selfish nature of man to stray. The only thing that keeps him from straying is the challenge of him wanting to confront his integrity. Other than that, yeah, at default level, he will stray. Nonetheless, so what was I saying? Oh, so I'm saying is you got to leave something memorable on his mind, because that is the thing that keeps your man focused throughout the day. It may not have even happened that morning, but if he can think about his woman and think about that pro skill, whatever it is, it stays in his mind. And those are the things that when the man is confronted with these Delilahs and all these things out here in the street that throw all these fishing hooks in his face all day, every day, you want him to have that fingerprint in his brain that says so-and-so lives here. And then he like, all right. And it will cause a man to second think about it and be like, nah, it's not worth it. I'm good where I'm at. So that's what you want to do. Got to give a man something memorable. And if you think your game is not memorable, there are all kinds of outlets out here today to get you memorable. Well, some of it has to do with your talent level. Can't teach that. But still, you can still learn instruction. And if you at least are able to learn something, the man can instruct you through whatever it is he likes. But I'm telling you, if you want to really get a man in line, since that's what y'all like to do, this is that watch culture today anyway, what you got to do is you got to leave him with something memorable. It may be a look, but you leave him with something memorable. Now, this is my last dirty tip of the day, and I'm going to clean up these subjects next week. It's just not good. I got some good ones next week. It's probably not going to be good for the men, but I got some good ones next week. All right. But I was in a discussion once in one of these panels, and I said something one time that people were like, no, that's not true. I said, oh yeah. I said one thing. Now this is an easy thing to practice, because you don't make, maybe you got to work with whatever you got, ladies, but this is the easy thing to practice. One of the most memorable visual things a woman can offer a man, visually memorable things. This is what you call a snapshot that stays etched in a man's brain. Excuse me. It's how a woman can present herself. This is going to go left. From behind. That is one of the most memorable positions in a man's brain. I know y'all think, I got my lingerie from Victoria's Secret in my heels. All that is fine, but that is just costume stuff to us. To us, when it gets down to it, we want to remember that visual gift about you. In that position to a man, if right, and I always tell people, it's about the posture. You know, let's just get what it is. We grown folks, you know, they call it doggy style, right? And I said on one of my shows before, some of the women have to master that. It's not called donkey, it's called doggy. See, donkey, when the people just, let me do this. No, arch, dog. But keep that in your brain, arch dog. So what I'm saying is, if you give a man that, he'll never forget it. So wrapping this up, wrapping this up, and when I say give him that, I'm not talking about the actual act. I'm talking about the visual of him liking what he sees in that particular space. He'll never forget it. So what I'm saying in wrapping this up, as it pertains to the fit, the topic of this is about the fit of the woman, and does it matter to the man? Absolutely. So women, you need to ask your guys, is our fit adequate? Is our fit okay? And ask them to be honest with you. Because like I said, we are hunters. So we're gonna improvise. But if you're gonna ask us our preference and to be honest with you, we're gonna tell you we like the fit to be right. We like the fit to be right. You know? Yeah, okay, I'll cut off at that. I won't be any more bad than that. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm thankful you guys was riding with me this week. We're gonna keep this fun. This is good. We'll keep it educational, fun, and we're gonna just go into it like that. And again, thank you guys for hanging with me this week, and I will see you next week. And remember, fit matters.